Plaintiff Angela Pop dated the defendant, but only after she got pregnant did he confess that he had 4 other children. Angela claimed she was forced to raise her baby alone for the first 4 months. And after they broke up, the defendant couldn't pay child support. Angela's suing her ex-boyfriend for 2 unpaid loans. Defendant Brian Fratton says he was always honest with Angela, and she knew from the start that he had 4 children. Brian admits that he's had a hard time holding down a job, but claims it's because he is addicted to prescription pills. Brian denies owing Angela for anything.
Start with you.
Well, I started dating Brian, and 7 months later, I found out that I was pregnant. And I confided in Brian, and I told him that I was.
You confided in him?
Yeah, I told him that.
Was he the father?
Yes.
I probably shouldn't tell you this.
Yeah, right. What would be the other thing I probably shouldn't tell you? Like Doyle says, yeah.
Okay. Well, I told him that I was pregnant, and instead of comforting me, he told me that he had 4 other children. So that was a big shocker. So I was even more scared. Wasn't sure what I was going to do.
How old are you all?
I'm 22.
You, sir?
29.
Go ahead.
So after I told him that we were living with my parents, and my parents kicked him out because they found out that he was lying about his age. He said he was 25 and he was actually 28 at the time.
All right, let me hear from him. Tell me about meeting and all of that.
That's a lie, and she manipulates it. I never actually, I told her from the get-go how many kids I had, and I told her she shouldn't lie to her parents about how old I was.
What about the child? Did you do anything to avoid impregnating her,
Yes,
or
I did.
ask her to do something different?
She was on birth control, and I was using condoms. So.
Both?
Yes.
All right, so you really did the max. You on birth control, you were using condoms? That's a miracle. This child might be divine. Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am. So once the child arrived, how did things go?
Well, I was staying with my parents for the first 4 months, so he wasn't really around because my parents do not like him at all. So I took care of her for the first 4 months, and I moved out.
And where did you move? In with them?
No, I moved into my own place.
How did things go then?
Things were going good then, so he could actually see his daughter more because he never really seen her for the first 4 months unless I left with him.
And when did things go bad?
I loaned him some money.
Okay, it's about the loan. That's what caused things to go wrong?
Yes.
All right, sir, let me hear from you.
I started staying with her on and off, staying with my mother the other half, but things started to work great until, I guess I started getting in some trouble.
Why you have to stay with everybody?
I'm not very good with money, I guess you'd say, and I had worked for Papa John's for 12 years, and then I got fired.
Why?
Stupid mistake, shooting a BB gun.
Who
at
steals
school.
pizzas? Oh, okay, shooting a BB gun.
Yeah.
Where?
A can outside the back of the building.
Okay, sir. How old were you, sir?
I was 26. I was an idiot.
26.
I was stupid. I was on birth control, and I was using condoms. So.
Both? All right, so you really did the max. You on birth control, you were using condoms? That's a miracle. This child might be divine. Go ahead.
Plaintiff Angela Pop has a child with the defendant, but she claims she was forced to raise their child alone for the first 4 months because the defendant never came around.
Ma'am, tell me about the loans.
Okay. I have 2 separate loans. I loaned him $1,500 for a car.
When?
This was in November.
Month and year.
November 2015.
Mm-hmm. When was he to repay?
With his taxes in March of 2016.
All right, so you obviously don't watch Judge Mathis.
Right. Well, he had his taxes before, the year before he got like $7,000 back, so I thought he would be getting a big lump sum this.
All right, so what did happen with the tax money that he was to give you?
He said it went all to child support. He said he didn't get any.
How far back, sir, did you owe child support?
Right around $4,000.
No, well, how far back? Years?
Oh, 1 year. I've always paid up in full by the time.
So only the year you were unemployed?
Yes. I've never fallen more than 6 months behind in child support, so.
Okay, all right. Does that sound about right? You wouldn't know. All right, he told you anything. All right, next, the other $1,500 I see he owes you.
Then I loaned him another $1,500 in February because he was going to go to jail, and I didn't want Serenity, which is our daughter, to not have her father around.
All right, so you gave up $1,500. When was he to repay that?
With my taxes. I got mine in February. He was supposed to get his in March. This was the same stuff. It was for the same
Okay.
loan. He was supposed to pay the $3,000 back in full. And
All right.
then we broke up and things got bad. I took him to court for child support.
Now, was he working?
He was working different jobs, but he always got fired from his jobs. He got fired first for stealing from his boss. He got fired for not passing a drug test, and another one he just quit.
You a dope fiend?
Dope fiend, I guess you could say. I do Percocets.
What got you started on that?
I had cancer when I was 20.
And many people start as a result of some illness they had. Surgery, back injuries, and that pain doesn't go away. You're an addict. And your tolerance goes up such that you need more to address the pain. Then you want more because taking it to address the pain also gets you a little high, particularly when you throw a little liquor and a little weed on it. Am I saying anything wrong?
No.
I got it down, don't I?
Yes, you do.
You would think I was a dope fiend the way I talk.
I think you did it.
If I did everything that I know about many of you watch, I would be a crackhead. I would be on heroin. I would be on pills. So I just have a little insight because I come from a background and still associate with folks who are troubled with addiction. Okay, that's his issue. Drugs, that preempts any of this other stuff we're talking about. Whether he wanted to repay you or not, you weren't gonna get paid. I don't care if income tax gave him extra. That money was going to the pharmacy, probably wouldn't give him any more. They wouldn't write him any more prescriptions, so he went to the street, no doubt, for the Percocets. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
You better quit being right about this.
Say quit being right.
People are gonna
I
talk.
don't want to go to the heroin because when you can't afford pills anymore, you go to the heroin. And then the other half who just want to get high. And they try it once from the pill popper turned heroin addict. The pill popper turned heroin addict tells the young folks that they hang out with, man, you take a hit of this, that weed ain't nothing. And they take that hit of heroin. With a lot of times they start out snorting the heroin, putting the heroin on foil and smoking it, all kind of ways. And then when that runs out of effectiveness, boom. So that's what we see going on in our society. But let's get back to the loan that you're suing him for that you're not gonna get. Because that's going to the pill man. Sir, you tell me about these loans.
The car, $1,500 that I owe for that, I didn't owe for that. That was for our family car. We both drove that back and around, and it didn't become mine until she got a new car.
You saying she gave it to you?
Yes.
After she bought a new car?
Yeah. After the car.
She bought a brand new car and gave you the old one?
Yep. And basically just...
What type did she give you? What year and type did she give you?
An 01 Chrysler.
Okay, and she
Jeep
gave
Wrangler.
this to you in 16?
Yep.
That sounds reasonable, ma'am. He says you bought a brand new car and then gave him the 2001. And the father of your child, you probably wanted him to have a car to drive to work or to try and find work. What he says makes sense. You didn't give it to him. You didn't buy a new car and give him the old one.
I bought an 04. I didn't buy a 2016. So
You bought an 04.
yeah, it wasn't.
How much was yours?
Bought it for $25 and then registered.
You
so
bought it
like-
for $2,500.
Yeah, so it was about
And he
$2,700.
says you gave him one for $1,500.
Right, so I don't see how I can do that. I don't have that kind of money.
Now that doesn't sound reasonable. All right, sir, what about the other loan, the $1,500 for your child support?
It was a gift to keep me out of jail. It was a gift. It was basically to help me stay
Why wouldn't
with
you
the
repay
kids. I would if I could. I can't.
You can't pay your child support either.
I've paid my child support. That's all I've paid.
Are
Don't
you
pay my
continuing
child
to pay it?
support.
As much as I possibly can as of
Are you
going,
working?
I'm a caregiver. I take care of my grandmother.
Are you working outside of that?
No, not at
Why
this
aren't you
time.
working midnights? Then take care of grandma during the day.
I would love to if I could find a job. I'm having issues doing that.
When is the last time you had? Well, of course, because
About
you have to
3
take a
months
blood
ago.
test.
Plaintiff Angela Pop has a child with the defendant, but she claims she was forced to raise their child alone for the first 4 months because the defendant never came around.
You need to either go to rehab or jail. Now, which one you want?
I love rehab, but
All right, we're going to help you go to rehab. We're going to get you some treatment, whether we pay for it or whether we arrange to have it paid for by the Affordable Care Act, which now provides access to a lot of drug institutions. All right? So we're going to arrange that for you. However, you do owe her, and I'm going to order you to pay her with these odd jobs that you're working. Good luck to your $3,000.
I'm gonna go back home and I hope he goes to rehab and gets a job and takes care of his daughter.
I hope things can start changing and we can still take care of our daughter together and move on with our lives and things start getting better.